So currently there are 11 races. There's human, Githyanki, half-orc, dragonborn, elf, half-elf, drow, tiefling, halfling, gnome, and dwarf. So if you watch the video again on backgrounds, you might be wondering if picking a race is as nuanced as picking a background. Well, the simple answer to that is yes. Yes, it is. Because in BG3 or Baldur's Gate 3, you have the ability to assign your ability scores as you would like, right here. So if I clear all of these, as you can see, the max okay, I'm just going to clear everything. Everything's down to 8. Okay? I'll cover this in more detail in a video on ability scores. But for now, that's what you need to know. You can assign your ability points to these abilities, and you can assign these bonuses, which each race gets. So +2 to any one of these, and +1 to any one of these. Now, let's get back to it. So, and the other aspect that makes the race nuanced is the race features. So what do I mean by this? Well, you can pick between the 11 races, which have 28 sub-races, with each of these races and sub-races providing some sort of benefit that the other races may or may not provide. All races do provide, like I mentioned, the +2 and the +1 to ability points, but what other things they offer is very different. So sit back, relax, and with the brief overview and some background out of the way, let's dive into the races in more detail. The Dragonborn. Now these guys are pretty cool. I mean, just customizing them is a lot of fun. Other than that, their base racial traits, features are not too significant, but their sub-races are what really make them unique. And we're going to dive into each sub-race and I'll tell you exactly what each one does. So the Dragonborn resemble draconic humanoids. They're a proud race that values clan and skills above all else. Once enslaved by dragons, they strive to be self-sufficient, not wanting to be beholden to anyone, not even the gods. So their race traits, +2 to any ability and +1 to any other. Base racial speed of 9 meters or 30 feet. And the intricacies of the Dragonborn come from their sub-races, like I mentioned, and there are 10 total sub-races. So let's dive into those. First, we've got the Black Dragon. So the Black Dragon, despite no ancestral links to the mighty creatures, these Dragonborn share the charcoal coloration and fizzling, acrid breath of black dragons. So what does that mean? Well, this subrace gives you acid breath, and it gives you draconic ancestry of resistance to acid, basically. And the other dragon that has the same is the Copper Dragon. So they are copper, but they are also acid breath, and they have a resistance to acid damage. Then we've got the Blue Dragons. The Blue Dragons, again, no correlation to the ancestral dragons, but they have lightning breath and they have lightning resistance. And the other dragons that have the same are the Bronze. So they have lightning breath and draconic ancestry of resistance to lightning. Then we've got the Bronze Dragons, or the Brass Dragons. They have fire breath and fire resistance. Am I missing something? I know there's one other dragon type that has this. Oh, Gold. There we go. Gold. They also have fire breath and they have fire resistance. Then we've got the Red Dragons. The Red Dragons also have fire breath and fire resistance. Then we've got the Green Dragons, which have poison breath and poison resistance. And the Green Dragons, along with the Silver Dragons... Oh, Green Dragons, okay. So this is what I wanted to say about this, I remember now. So this is one of the most unique subclasses in all of Dragonborn. Because if you notice, with red, gold, and brass, it's all fire. This is a cone. Okay, so the difference between brass, gold, and red is the gold and red, they do a cone fire damage attack, and the brass does a line or a column of fire damage. So depending on how you want to, use these attacks. So it's actually pretty important to differentiate there. I didn't notice this before, but I'm glad I noticed it now. So gold and red give you a cone fire breath. Brass gives you a column, so a line. So for the black, it's a cone For the blue, it's a cone. For the bronze, it's a cone. And I think for the copper, it's also a cone. So the only one that gives you a column is the fire for brass. Then we've got the green, which is, again, a cone of poison. And this is the only Dragonborn subrace or even Dragonborn that does poison damage. And then there's a resistance to poison. Then we've got the silver and white. They do a cone of frost breath as well. And they have resistance to cold. And that's all of the subraces for the Dragonborn. And another thing you can do is, for example, and I'll just give you a little sneak peek here. Let's say you go Sorcerer. Then you can use a Draconic bloodline, and you can get a different ancestry. And that way your coloration, if you look here, it'll change. So you can get different colorations just to look cooler. But it also gives you some additional perks like poison and so on. So if I were to do wizard, I don't get that. It's only through the sorcerers that you get the Draconic bloodline. I don't think you get that with any other. Yeah. So there's that. So yeah, that's the Dragonborn. I hope you found this video helpful, learned something new about the mechanics, and make sure you subscribe for more mechanics and tips and tricks for Baldur's Gate 3 in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. Memberships are on, so feel free to become a member. That'll help me out a lot on the channel. And I look forward to seeing you all in my live streams in the future and in the next video. See you guys. Have a good one.